All right, we're getting through it now, lads. Like we're on Rev. Ooh. We're making some changes to the Revenant in this update that will curb their excessive condition damage in PvE and bolster their damage in PvP. Additionally, we're making a few changes to help power builds that are struggling in PvE but doing well in competitive modes. Targeted Destruction, for example, will now grant higher damage bonuses in PvE areas where higher stacks of vulnerability can be maintained, but lower damage in competitive modes where applying multiple stacks of conditions is harder. Song of the Mist has struggled to compete with the other Grandmaster traits in the Invocation line even after its rework. So we're improving various aspects of the skills, making them easier to land hits and stronger when fewer targets are struck. So the one thing is, to start off with, this skill can no longer hit the same target multiple times in a single cast. In other words, it can't multi-hit anymore. This is something that ArenaNet doesn't like. They don't like skills multi-hitting big hitboxes, basically. They just don't like that. Okay, Natural Harmony, they fixed a bug where if you jumped, it sometimes wouldn't go off. Yep, good. Okay, that's kind of amusing. So, again, Ash and Demeanor, they fixed a hilarious bug with this, because basically if you got knocked off your mount, it counted as you CCing yourself. So you would apply condies to yourself, right? Like, so it's like 5 vol and cripple. Yeah. Hilarious, but quite a funny bug. Now that's gone. So now we go on to the actual changes. Targeted Destruction. This grants 0.5 damage increase per stack of vulnerability instead of a flat 10% bonus. It's also no longer split between game modes. So in other words, I think it was already buffed in PvP. Actually. It was 7% in PvE and 10% in PvP. And now it's going to be 12.5% in PvE, basically. So like a 5% damage increase. I think I'm right there, actually. So it's like a 5% DPS increase from Devastation, which is pretty nice, actually, on all power rev builds, right? On all power rev builds, okay? And in PvP, that is a hefty nerf. Like, is it a hefty nerf that you can apply a good amount of vuln? Like, Sword 4 is vuln, your auto attacks are vuln as well. So you are going to be able to capitalize on this, but maybe not, because you need to have, like, oh no, it was 7%. It was 7% in PvP, and it was always 10% in. It was always 10% in PvE. So in other words, this is a 2.5% DPS increase in PvE, so not quite as much as I thought. And in PvP, it's almost always going to be a loss, right? Like you're probably not going to have 20 vol on targets that often, right? In PvP, that's just not going to happen that often. Maybe when you're cleaving, but in general, it is going to tone the damage down a little bit. But again, it's going to tone the damage by like 3%, right? You're still going to apply vol, and you'll have, let's say, 10 vol on them, right? So you're going to get a 10% modifier here, 5% modifier instead of a 7% modifier, basically. So it's like a few percentage points of damage, but not a big deal. I mean, it's not. Rev is still going to be insane damage. So honestly, Rev needs more. I would nerf Rev more, but then again, I would nerf everything more in PvP. I would nerf the damage across the board, right? It needs to be smushed. Smush it, smush. Okay. Nope. So there you go. Good change though. I guess you can cleanse the Vol as well and then take less damage from the Rev, but still, I mean, it's not enough. Anyway, moving on. Draconic Echo, they fixed the bug. Basically, this trait actually didn't work. When they reworked it, it just didn't work, guys. I'm just gonna say it, right? It really didn't. You would swap over to another legend and your facets would linger, right? The effect would be there, but it wouldn't actually pulse any boons. They finally fixed that. Wait, how long did it take to fix that? Fucking hell, dude. I think, wasn't it bugged on launch? When did this come out? Hang on, I'm curious. I'm really curious now. It was, okay, this came out in August 2018. It's just now been fixed. It took a little while to fix, guys, just a little bit. It looks like they fixed it if you detonated it and then stayed in Herald, right? But if you legend swapped away, it still was bugged. So they fixed it halfway, about a month after, a little under a month, like 20 days after release. Then they fully fixed it now. Okay, so there you go. I mean, that's kind of a funny one. All right, Shackling Wave. It does the extra strikes do an extra 40% damage, right? So in other words, the little when you throw it, the initial strike does damage, right? Then all the chains do damage as well. Hang on, let me log on to my actual Rev who has good weapons, right? Where is he? Here he is. XX Roleplayer XX. So again, they're buffing it in PvE only. They're trying to make the Alacrity Renegade a bit better. They're trying to make the Power Herald build a bit better. That will certainly do it. Swordfall was already pretty good, and now it's better. There you go. I don't know what else to say about that. Now it does more damage. It won't be, I don't think it's going to be, I think it's a very marginal DPS increase. It's probably like overall, maybe it gets an extra like 1k out of this, like those two changes, like the 2.5% and the shackling wave, which is fairly solid, right? Like 1k DPS is not to be sniffed at, so that's what it probably gets out of that. So good changes there, because again, combined with the Firebrand changes we talked about earlier, guys, it's buffing that hybrid comp, which is what they want. They want the Firebrand to compete, the Firebrand Renegade to start to compete with the Chrono setup, right? Which is a good thing, 100%. All right, Searing Fissure. They have completely changed this ability. This skill now applies 3 stacks of burning for 3 seconds on its first hit, 1 stack for 1 second on the next 3 hits. The damage of the first hit has been increased by 100%, increased the recharge from 3 seconds to 6 seconds in PvP and Wolfsword. So in PvP, this is like a buff nerf. They've increased the cooldown to compensate for the fact that you're going to burst people, right, with 3 burning instantly, right? And then you get less burning over time. Like, previously, you probably only get like 1 or 2 pulses in PvP. Now, if you land it, you're going to guarantee get 3 burns and then another few burns, and on the initial hit, you get more damage too, which is interesting because I believe this was actually played as a bit of a hybrid. I think Tenebrae played it as Sage Amulet, if I recall correctly, which does have power on it. So the power damage is relevant. But it's the cooldown, though, sucks, right, actually. The cooldown sucks. I do feel a bit bad for that. Like, maybe that's a bit harsh. Maybe only 4 seconds in PvP or 5 seconds. But I don't know. I think maybe it's fine. We'll have to see how it plays out. We'll have to see how that Coddy Rev gets going. In PvE, though, guys, this is a hard nerf. Let's just crunch the numbers here, right? Like, previously, it was 4 stacks, 4 seconds each, right? Okay? 16 seconds of burning. Now it's 3 stacks, so it's 9 seconds, right? And then another 3 pulses of 1 second. So in other words, 12 seconds, right? So you lose 4 seconds of burning, right, on that. So it's 8 seconds with 100% duration, right? So quite a significant nerf, actually, to Condi Rev there. So sucks if you like to sell Doom CM, man. And on top of this, before Condi Rev, they nerfed Rampant Vex, guys. Okay? Rampant Vex is a corruption trait here, guys, and what it does is on crit, you get Torment. Okay? And they've reduced the duration from 4 seconds to 3 seconds. This is actually, on crit trait, guys, do not underestimate them. These things are why you want precision on Condi classes, right? Do not underestimate these traits. It's going to be, again, another unfortunate DPS loss for Condi Rev. Now, the interesting thing about the nerfs to Condi Rev, it did have a high benchmark, but it actually wasn't really used in that many places, guys. Typically, the only place where it really excelled extremely well was Doom. Other than that, it was only pretty okay. I don't think it really, it is, don't get me wrong, guys, it was a very strong build, very high DPS, but I think it was exactly meta anywhere. Typically, it would be outshone by Mirage in a lot of places in that situation. So did it really deserve this nerf? Probably not, honestly. I don't think it had it coming, but fair enough. It did have a very high benchmark. So there you go. There you have it. I think the DPS, someone told me the DPS is about 2k DPS, which is quite hefty, right? That hurts, right? So it's pretty rip, right? Pretty fucking rip. So yeah, rip Condi Rev, dude. Not really the end of the world in PvP, obviously. Like, it sucks to lose a second, but you're probably not too upset about that. And you had Sage anyway, so not really the mega crit. So there you go. Is Healer using Major or Harrier now? It depends. It's a mixture probably. You want some boon duration. Okay, there you go. Rip Condi Rev. And finally, guys, I mean, we talked about this trait and we were so bamboozled by this that I still am bamboozled. Like, it's Song of the Mist, guys, okay? The trait's radius has gone up from 180, which is minuscule, to 240, which is good, right? So you don't have to be so close to the target. And the effects of the skill of each skill activated by this trait have been updated as follows. They basically made them all better, right? So Call the Assassin. So what Song of the Mist does is, guys, whenever you attune to a legend, right, it procs an effect, right? This is what it does. It procs an effect, right? So Call the Assassin. You get 8 seconds of volume instead of 5, and you get 2 seconds of quickness with an additional of 1 second each hit. So previously, it would never grant you quickness unless you hit someone, right? So you're guaranteed to get quickness now, and it does a little bit more damage now. It never really did a lot of damage, like very low, like as you can see here, guys, like only about 600 here. And I think I'm on Harrier. I don't know what gear I'm on. I think I've got Harrier gear on right now, which is like full power, so it doesn't do a lot of damage. But you do get guaranteed quickness. Like, maybe that could actually see some kind of play, actually. I very much doubt it. That in PvP, in PvP and Wolfsword, there's absolutely no way you're letting go of Roiling Mist. Roiling Mist is too strong. This is a big problem with this trait. It has some very strong competition. I think the only way this sees play is if you move it. Maybe swap it with... Oh, swap it with Incense Response. Oh, no. Maybe even make it a minor, honestly. Like, maybe make it a minor trait, because it's kind of... No, then you actually might take it. Nah, I don't know. It's far too weak, guys, to compete with these two traits. This is amazing on Condi Rev. This is amazing on Power Rev. Like, you're not going to want to get rid of this. You're just not. Call the Dwarf. It gains baseline barrier. So how much barrier is initial 1k barrier? Yeah, okay, nice fucking joke. This is with healing power on as well, guys. Yeah, nice meme, dude. Nice meme. And it, like maximum barrier will be 3.5k with healing power as well. Yeah, that's not good. Call the Demon. Torment is 6 to 8 seconds. I believe it's 1 stack. Oh, it's 2 stacks, to be fair. So 20 seconds of Torment there. And slow. Maybe you would take this on some kind of Condi Rev in PvP with Malix. The AoE slow and the Torment and a bit of damage. So maybe we've judged it a bit too late. Maybe. Yeah, exactly. No one runs Malix. Yeah, you're right, Joe. Like you run Shiro Glint, right? You don't run Malix. Like, if you did though. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing it. So I think it's still pretty weak. And then Call the Centaur. They just made the radius a bit bigger, so 180 to 240. I mean, 180 was pretty pathetic, right? Like 240, now you have a chance of connecting it. But honestly, it needs to be 360, honestly, like minimum. And then probably buff the healing as well. Although it's not that bad. Like, I would still buff it a little bit. Maybe make it apply boots. Make it apply vigor. Then you're actually talking. Now, make it like apply 10 target vigor. Now we're talking, okay? Or like 10 target regen, 10 target vigor, something like that. Or apply a good long, maybe some resistance as well, something like that. Like make it like fucking OP, right? Like, because then it could be used in PvE, right? Like maybe it would see used in PvE, but then again, charge miss on hero rev is so strong that it's very difficult. Call of the Dragon. The amount of burning the skill can stack has increased. Can stack has increased from 1 to 2. I mean, yeah, it's like 1 stack of extra burning and chill. The damage is non-angle split, and it uses the highest value almost, and it's increased by 42%. Well, the thing is, this one really bamboozles me because it does pathetic damage. Actually, it does so. Its damage is so fucking low. 485. Yeah, that's like raw garbage, guys. That's trash. And Call the Renegade. The amount of bleeding the skill can stack has been increased from 1 to 2 in PvP and War of the Sword. It now always grants 1 further stack in addition to the stacks gained per hit in all modes. So let's see, what does that do? So you always gain a stack. I mean, that's something. And you basically you're like insta-stack, but getting stacks is so easy actually with Renegade because you just whenever you flank or crit, like it's never a problem. In 2 bleeds, 2 fucking bleeds and 323 damage, and oh boy, wow, what an ability that is, guys. I'm sure glad I have that over Charge Miss or Roiling Miss. No, guys, this trait is absolute raw garbage. Like no one's ever going to use it. I don't think it's got a long way to go. It probably the way to fix it is to move it, right? If you move it to maybe a minor, then I think it would probably see some play. But to be frank, as it stands right now, competing with these 2 very strong traits, it would. Like arguably you could nerf Roiling Miss, but honestly, could you? I don't even know, dude. Like I think they're not that OP, right? It's just that this trait is like, extra weak, I think, in my opinion. Like it should be moved. Just move it somewhere else is probably the best. Like swap it with some of this shit. I don't know, with a minor trait maybe. Because I think making you'll choose incense response over it. That's the thing. Like you're gonna. Well, would you though? Actually, it is nerfed in PvP. Maybe you could make it a major, a master trait, and it might see some competition. Maybe, but getting the might with Fury is so strong actually on Rev. Like stacking that might. I just quickness is good though. I don't know. I don't really want to buff Rev. That's the thing. I don't want to buff it because I think if you got free quickness and you didn't have to give anything up for it except like a bit of condition cleanse or a 7% mod, I think that would be good. But other than that, I don't know. But anyway, all right, we better get in the mix, boys. So yeah, in terms of Rev, Condi Rev gets bopped. I like the changes to the hybridization, making the hybrid builds better. I do enjoy that a lot, guys. Good attempt on Song of the Mist. It's a cool trait. I love traits like that, actually, to be fair. I really do enjoy traits like that. The do something cool, do something funky, right? I like it. I do love the flavor of it as well. I'd like to see more boss to it and probably move it is the best way to go about that. Power Rev, I think it could be nerfed more, honestly, in PvP. I think its damage is still going to be extremely high. It's a very, very strong class. Like I've heard stuff like 70% win rate or something like in comparative play. That's just crazy, right? That is probably a little bit too much. Or then again, win rates are so skewed because of duo queue and teams being actually good as well, right? Okay, so yeah, it feels pretty bad. If you're a Rev, dude, good changes to Rev, I think overall, certainly in the right direction. Definitely looking forward to playing around with that hybrid comp, because I think that Alacrity Renegade's DPS will be up a good chunk as well. So very enjoyable thing, very good mash there. I like it, I love it. Okay, yeah, more changes needed though, I think. More changes needed. All right. We've been looking to ways... Okay, this reads so well, by the way. We've been looking at ways to improve the pistol main hand and dagger offhand build for thieves. We wanted to give the weapon pair a little more lethality without improving other weapon sets or removing current utility. So we decided to go with the mechanic we used for Toe Line during the Underwater update. This allows Shadow Strike to flip over to Repeater for a period of time. Additionally, the team has adjusted Unhindered Combatant so the exhaustion scales with the severity of the condition that was removed. Finally, we're reducing the duration of stealth on Silent Scope in competitive modes so that it's more of a brief respite in combat rather than a stealth upkeep trait. Yeah, so there we go. Praise to ArenaNet. That's what it's going to be. Mathicus, thanks for the sub, dude. Lamau, 2 months. I love it, okay? Okay, so basically, they buffed Pistol Main Hand a fair bit, right? So the Sneak Attack, which is the stealth attack here, it now does more bleeding, right? So 6 seconds of bleed as opposed to 4. So quite a significant buff, to be fair, actually. An extra 50% duration on that. Big damage, okay? But on top of that, guys, Shadow Strike. If you get a successful hit with this dual attack, which is Pistol Dagger, right? So you get your Torment, right? And you get Torment and the damage, right? Then afterwards you can use Repeater. And I actually think this is such a cool flavor-wise. Let's be real, guys. This probably won't be good, except in... I think it's actually probably not bad in World vs. World, but this is such a cool thing flavor-wise, guys. So what happens is, if you use this ability, right, this is a melee attack, Pistol Dagger is a melee attack, so your opponent runs at you and charges you or something like that, and you go, okay, right, we need to disengage, we've got to get the fuck out. So what you do is, you whack them with that, okay, and then you dodge back and fire a tormenting shot, okay, and then, temporarily, you can use you can use Repeater, which is the skill you get if you don't have an offhand, right? So in other words, you teleport back and then bam, you hit him with the Repeater, right? And you can keep, I think you can mash it. Yeah, you can actually mash it. Honestly, that's not even that bad. Seriously, that's surprisingly good. And you're actually getting a decent chunk of DPS there, right? Like half of the heavy golem's health there. Not bad, to be honest. A good chunk of bleeding, a good chunk of power damage, and really lovely flavor, right? You teleport back and then... Because previously, if you Shadow Strike back, right, you can't use Shadow Strike again because it's a melee attack. But what this allows you to do is you get that, you break the distance, right? You disengage from the enemy. Oh, that was weird though. Watch out for terrain that you can glitch over. That's fun. But yeah, you disengage and then you can unload into your opponent. I really like that. I think that's a really nice little flavor. That's fun. That is fun. And they buffed it up a bit as well, guys. They made Repeater do 20% more power damage. And it's 4 seconds of bleeding on hit as well, so it's starting to become more of a full-fledged ability rather than just like, you know, kind of a bit of a trash one, right? You know, it's definitely a very cool change. Will it see play? Unlikely, no. But it's cool. It's cool, right?
It is cool.
I think
I'll play it for money.
Yeah, in World vs. World, there may be some really weird, like Condi, Daredevil, Trailblazer shit that you would play this on, and just be AIDS, but that's probably the place you'll see it rather than anything else. And then a slight buff to Shadow Step here. So now you've got 15 seconds to use it rather than just 10. So you've got a bit more potential for juking there as well. I think you'll notice that the scope of changes to Thief are not crazy because Thief is in a pretty good spot right now in PvP. Certainly, it's very solid class. You see it played. It's probably on EU. I think it doesn't get played as much as on NA, right? Like on NA, they actually play the Mirage in their like Dream Comp, and on EU you see the Thief, right? You see the Firebrand, the Scourge, Soul Beast, Thief, Rev on EU, and then on NA you see the same thing, but instead of the Thief you see a Mirage. So Thief is in a good spot, so doesn't really get changed that much really, except for one thing that I'm sure everyone really liked. It is the nerf to the Deadeye trait. Silent Scope, 3 seconds of stealth used to be when you would dodge roll and get 3 seconds of stealth. Now it is going to be a pathetic 1 second of stealth, right? And yeah, I mean, this trait really had it coming. This was one of the most annoying things to deal with. Certainly in solo queue, right? This was mainly a problem with solo queue. Deadeye didn't really see a lot of high-end competitive play. We have Phaleth, who plays this, who I believe got legend with this by playing this build. Again, it is very good in ranked and does play monthly AT, stuff like that. Gets decently far in monthly AT, so it's not like it's bad in competitive play. But again, like the other Thief builds tend to surpass it in an actual competitive thing, because if you have a coordinated team to shut down the Deadeye, they know they've got to focus it, shut that Deadeye down. It's nowhere near as obnoxious. In ranked, when you've got, it's you and 4 clowns, they're going to get farmed by the Deadeye infinitely, right? It's really hard to lock him down. Like, he's teleporting all over the place. He's stealth permanently. He's shooting at you with like 20k crits. Well, maybe not 20k. I think the biggest crit I saw was actually I think it was onto Wing in Tournament of Legends or something. I don't know. And it was like 17k crit or something with this stupid rifle stuff. It's like, oh, it's disgusting, dude. That's nasty. It's pretty gnarly. Is it useless Kadim kite? Well, it's unnerfed in PvE, so like you can still play the rifle setup in PvE, so you're good to go there. And yes, it's very good at kiting on Kadim. It's really good at it, actually. But anyway, this really had it coming. Will it still be annoying? Probably. It still has really high damage and it can still snipe you, but it's going to be a bit easier to shut it down, right? And he won't be... The Deadeye won't be able to use this to get away as much. They'll have to use it as an aggressive tool, pretty much, right? Like, what ArenaNet want you to do is they want you to dodge, fire, right? It's not a dodge, oh, well, I'm stealth for 3 seconds now, see you later, okay? It's much more of an aggressive tool, I would imagine here. So more purity of purpose, I guess. The Deadeye is supposed to be a bit of a glass cannon, and it's going to be exactly that. So a good change here to Silent Scope. As Syndrina says, guys, Deadeye, small PP. Okay, that's what they say. Okay, big rifle, small PP. That's what it is, matter. Okay.
It's overcompensating.
Exactly, right, exactly. So, but yeah, so yeah, good changes to that. And then we see this Daredevil change. And this is a really interesting change, actually, to what we're going to see next. It's to Unhindered Combatant, right, guys, okay? Let's see. So, the duration of exhaustion that this trait applies when dodging is now 2 seconds if crippled is present, 3 seconds if chilled is present, and 4 seconds if immobilized is present. Exhaustion will now be applied when the dodge roll is initiated. So what this does, guys, is that it's going to punish you less for getting rid of stuff like cripple, and so before it always gave 4 seconds, I think. Right, and now it's going to be 4 seconds only if immobilize is reduced. So in other words, if you just want to get rid of chill, it's going to be 3 seconds. Cripple, it's only 2 seconds, right? So pretty much always going to work out better for you in every situation. However, bear in mind, guys, exhaustion now stacks duration. So what this does do is it punishes bad thieves, right? It's probably good for a good thief, right? Okay, and bad for a bad thief, right? Because if there's, say, like, loads of cripple going on and you're spamming this, right, and there's loads of chill, you're spamming it, you're going to get like 6-7 seconds of exhaustion, right? Okay, whereas previously it would just reset to 4. But again, like, it's a pretty nice buff here, actually, for this setup here for Daredevil. And again, I believe they want to kind of put some focus back on Dagger Pistol, I believe, the Daredevil build. They want to make Dagger Pistol a bit better, and this is kind of their way of doing it, making it a bit more slippery and rewarding being good at the game as well. So yeah, overall, happy days if you are a Daredevil enthusiast, guys. Exhaustion being applied when the dodge is initiated. So this just means that previously you would be regenerating endurance while you're dodging, and now the exhaustion doesn't tick down when you're dodging as well, right? Because basically, if you get the exhaustion immediately, it's ticking down while dodging. So this is technically a bit of a nerf, right? Because if you get it after you're done dodging, it's gonna, it won't overlap with the dodge, I guess. But it's not the biggest a deal, right? It's like 0.75 seconds, so not too bad there, okay? And definitely compensated for by the reduction in the duration of the exhaustion for inferior conditions, right? And lead attacks fixed a bug with this trait that allows players to enter combat with more stacks of the damage effect than intended. I don't know exactly what they did here. Was this where you could stack it with Deadeye or something like that? I don't know what the fuck's going on. Basically, they fixed something about it, and now it works properly. There you go. All right. So, and then finally, where have we arrived, Matter? We have arrived at the final profession, guys. Over to Warrior, guys. Let's have a look at Warrior, shall we? The number one and most important change here is that banners have been reworked. Banner skills have long been very passive in nature. Today we're releasing some changes to give them a bit more active gameplay while also reducing their granted attributes to give greater role flexibility in group settings. However, we do think the Warrior gives up a lot in order to use them, so we're increasing the bonus stat gains when Warriors equip traits that modify banners. As a larger change, we're also removing the bundle skills from banners and changing the pickup action to now recharge the banner skill. Previously, the banner skills could be a trap for players, providing weaker skills in a bundle that anyone could interact with. We consider enhancing the banner skills, but we don't want banners to be alternate weapons that take away from a player's normal weapons. Okay. Now, right off the bat with this, yeah, banners are really, really boring, I agree, and making them more active is good. They basically function like turrets now, guys. I will just show you here. And there's some pros and cons. In a way, it kind of removes the flavor. Like, you can't actually hold the banner anymore, which I think is a bit of a shame. Like, it's a bit of a roleplay thing, and I do actually miss that a little bit. So what happens is, guys, when you pick up a banner, it's exactly like a turret, right? You're gonna only the warrior can do it, okay? And when you do it, it's going to reduce the cooldown of the banner by 60 seconds. So basically, I can wait 20 seconds on this, right? So when this gets to 60, if I'm going to pick this up, it's going to insta refresh, right? So pow, right? And then we go. We instantly got our banner back, right? After 20 seconds. So basically, you can now get 100% banner uptime very easily, right? By cleverly doing this, repositioning the banners is going to make it a bit easier. In other words, the warrior can like pick up both of them. You don't have to rely on someone else now. You can then instant recast them where you need to go. So you can get 100% uptime. So your uptime is going to be up. It's good, but yeah, it is simplifying it. It is streamlining it a little bit, okay? Which does you lose some of the flavor, so not ideal. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what I would have done. I think banners were kind of okay as they were. This doesn't make them less. This doesn't really make them more active. Anything, it's less active, right? Because you can't pick them up and move them around, right? It's that you click, recharge, cast again, right? They last 60 seconds and the cooldown's 80 seconds. So even if you fuck it up, the worst case is you're waiting for 20 seconds. So it's not really that. I guess that's obviously pretty bad, right? You lose 25% uptime, but with a lacquer, it's even not that bad. I don't know. I don't know. It's whatever, right? I don't really mind. I think it definitely gonna make them easier to use. Maybe a little bit more active, sure, maybe. But you lose a bit of flavor. It's whatever. But the other thing that they did is nerf the banners, guys. Okay. The stat gains are down from 170 to 100. So that means you lose quite a lot of stats here, to be fair, guys, right? So you're going to lose 70 ferocity, 70 power, 70 condition damage, 70 precision, okay? Now, that's obviously a pretty big deal, particularly if you're a power class, right? Because you lose power, precision, and ferocity, okay? Whereas the condition class is less worried about it, right? Because you don't really, a lot of classes don't really care about power that much or ferocity. It's more about precision and condition damage, right? So you kind of, the power classes kind of get a bit bopped a bit in there, but that's fairly inconsequential. Makes crit capping a bit annoying, but that's okay because you can just swap food or something or put some infusions in. It's not a big deal, right? And a lot of classes, we've had a lot of classes like Hollowsmith overcaps anyway, Thief overcaps I think as well. So again, not the end of the world actually for that. And yeah, just they had it coming, right? Like banners were definitely overpowered, right? But to be honest, I would have actually gone a different direction with this because stuff like Frost Spirit is a very high DPS increase, quickness and alacrity are very strong buffs. I would have actually gone in the direction of changing the traits in Berserker or something probably forcing you to commit to banners actually a bit more. So instead of reducing the effective banners, what I would have done is probably reduce the damage of Condi Warrior that has banners, right? For example, now last patch it was benching 34k, right? I think if you take banners, you should be under 30k. Sorry, Warriors, okay? Simple as that. Like, banners are absolutely insane. Honestly, even now, Warrior is still... It's still overpowered, right? Like, not overpowered, but in PvE, it's whatever, right? Warrior is still incredibly powerful in World of Sword. In PvP, PvE, we'll get there in the end. Third time's a charm, okay? A bit tired, okay? You're always going to want a warrior in every group because of banners. As long as banners exist, you're going to want them, okay? It's still 2,000 stats to your entire group, right? Like, that's pretty good. Well, I mean, more than that, but, like, not all the stats are useful to everyone, right? Okay, but, yeah, banners are still really, really strong. But, again, I would prefer it if they had increased the damage of Condi Warrior, like full Condi Warrior, and then reduced the damage of Banner Warrior. I think that would have been maybe a better way to go about it, but that's okay, too. I think it's fine. And then, yeah. So, banners 100% uptime, bit easy to use, don't want people to pick them up anymore. That's it. And then also, this is a fun one. I like this. So they're trying to make some of the other elite skills compete with what Warrior has right now. And Battle Sound was not that great for a while. Saw some very niche play, particularly in raids. You could sometimes use Battle Sound if you don't need CC, or don't need the boon rip from the bubble or something like that. And now you can. It has an additional use in PV, well, probably World versus World, as we can see. In PvP, it's a bit slow. It's probably not going to happen, right? Maybe, though. Who knows, right? Who the fuck knows, dude? It will now finish people in the center of its event. I think it has a little custom attack marker for this. Let's see how it actually looks like, because it's got 2 radii, right? So, yeah, there we go. See? So the inner circle finishes people, right? And the outer circle revives people, yeah? Okay, pretty cool. I think that's a pretty cool little thing. Let's see if has it got a special effect or anything. Let's see if it does anything special. So you bring it down, and then pow! So you're going to insta-finish people in the little one, and you're going to revive everyone in the other one, and you can also pick it up to reduce the cooldown. So one of the big limiting things was that it did have a very long cooldown, and actually in PvE, this is a pretty nice buff, actually. Because you're going to be able to significantly reduce the duration, the cooldown of this, right, just by picking it up, right? It does pulse boons, so you could leave it a while, but basically as soon as you need to move on, or you need to, as soon as you need to move, or it gets to 60 seconds, you can insta-pick it up, and you're going to reduce it. So the cooldown of this is effectively 2 minutes now, down from, I think, from 3 minutes, right? So that's a pretty big deal, actually. Absolutely, it's a pretty big deal for Battle Standard. Like, it might see some play in World vs. World, especially with the way Bubble is. It depends how Bubble pans out, and we'll talk about that right next, right? Inner Circles is for Finnish people. Yeah, they get here for the Finnish people. Yeah, they get their own special little circle. Yeah, but yeah, definitely more competitive. It's not going to beat Rampage in PvP. Though, like, Rampage is really, really strong, and honestly, Bubble will probably be the major play in World vs. World as well. And for raids, I actually think this might see more play now. It's a bit better. It's a shame you can't finish bosses with that. Execute. Yeah, but no, you can't do that. That would be silly. You can use it for giving some boons, though, which is quite nice. And just rezzing. Rezzing is always good. Rezzing 5 people is always nice. And with quickness, it casts in, very quickly as well, like 1 second. So it's a good skill. And if you don't need CC, if you're on your Condi Warrior, take it, right? If you don't need Bubble, if you're playing Spellbreaker for some reason, take it, right? And then you can carry your team, right? If you don't need the the DPS increase. So there you go. Can only finish 1 person. I think it can finish 5 people. Yeah, it'll finish 5 people in the circle, so pretty good. Fun ability. I like the changes. Might actually see some play. I like it. Good choice by ArenaNet. Now, Winds of Disenchantment. This is actually, we'll talk about double standards first, actually, before we talk about the Throgo stuff. Basically, to compensate for this, they actually made Warrior get more stats from double standards. Previously, it was only 50% improvement here on this trait, like you get 50% more stats. Now you're going to get 100% more stats. The Warrior is still going to get less stats overall. It's technically still a nerf, right? Because 50% of 170 is going to give you a higher total than 100% of 100, right? So you get 200 of all the stats now from double standards. Previously, it'll be what? It'll be 85, 255 extra stats, right? From this trait, right? It's also renamed. And it gives you swiftness now when you pick up a banner instead of applying regen. So no, guys, Heal Warrior is dead! No! Okay, yeah, I mean, maybe not, but I mean, Heal Warrior got bopped. Ajax is going to be so sad. Yeah. Poor old Heal Warrior, but there you go. You get swiftness now, so enjoy that. But, I'm not really sure why it's swiftness. I mean, they could have kept it as it was, to be honest, but I mean, it is what it is, right? That's exactly what it is, right? And then finally, Winds of Disenchantment, guys, when it comes to Warrior. So, what did they do to this ability? Well, this is an amazing one. I love this. So, it's now a channeled skill, and it will follow the Warrior. Its pulse time has been reduced from 1 second to 0.5, with the duration remaining at 5 seconds. Breaking the channel will destroy the spell. The casting time has been reduced to 0.5 seconds. So it's got a 0.5 second wind up. Okay? And it pulses every half second for 5 seconds. So it can rip 10 boons. Okay? And it will prevent any more boons from being applied while the bubble is up as well. That effect is still there. And it will follow you. Okay, just to show you what that looks like, guys. Okay, let's have a look at this. All right, so here we go. Cast that, and now we can, as you can see, we can just run around with that like this. Look at us go. Whoa! Whoa! It is such a cool thing. I love the design on this. It's fantastic. It remains to be seen if this is better or worse, right, actually, because what it does do, and this is good from a design perspective, it introduces counterplay, right? Now in World vs. World, you can interrupt that, right? You can shut that down, okay? That means you're not just trapped, right? There's something you can do about this bubble. Like if it just goes on you, you can actually do something about it, which is a good thing. Like before, you put it down and boom, it's there. But it has the advantage that you can use it with mobility, right? Like you can use it while being relatively mobile as well, and you can push into the zerg, right? You can go on them, right, with this. And if they don't CC you, you will get massive value. You're going to strip so many boons so fast, right? You will fuck them. And the thing is, they can't get out of it, right? If you're on them, say with super speed, guys. So that's why I've equipped this ability here, guys. I've got Featherfoot Grace here. get yourself 5 seconds of super speed, bit of resistance as well. Okay, you could just get the fuck in there, right? Like, you can start going crazy. This is weird. And then on top of this, guys, like, you can... Warrior is very good at engaging on the enemy in World vs. World, right? So you can take sword leap, you can leap in there, then super speed charge at them, stuff like that. Ray, you can block in and then run in there, and then boom, wins on them, wins a disenchantment. Definitely a really cool change. I think overall, it's probably a bit... It's definitely weaker in open field. Like, it's going to be a lot harder to lock people down in it. The stealth thing does work. I wonder if... I think they actually will probably make this do 1 damage or something, or reveal
No, it doesn't appear. It doesn't...
Well, that's what I mean. That's why I want... That's why it does work. Okay, right, here we go. Hang on, I'm going to apply some boons to myself. There we go. Got the resistance up. And here we go. Get me. Are they on me? Yeah, oh, yeah, it's working. Yeah, it is fully working. And it's not revealing him in any way. It's fully on me, right? Yep. So there you go. It confirmed it works exactly as you might expect, right? Feels good, man. Yeah, that's kind of... Yeah, that's a funny one. So in World vs. World, you're going to see that until that gets adjusted, right? Stealth up, get in, bubble, boom. Okay, but I imagine that is unintended, actually, to be fair. I'm really torn over if this is a nerf or not. I'd lean towards saying it's a nerf, actually, overall, though. Because not being able to put it down as this big zoning tool that's just going to stay there, I think is a bit of a nerf min, right? Okay. But yeah, really cool design-wise, really lovely actually from Warrior. And the sad thing is, it's going to completely shut it down in I think it's going to make it a lot worse in PvP because you can't put it down on a node then attack with it. I mean, it didn't really see play anyway, but I think if any other ability was going to get used, it would have been Winds, right? And I think it probably won't get used now. Maybe it will though. Maybe the faster boon ability, you can like hard rip the Firebrand or something. Maybe, but I'm not sure I see it because you can't attack at the same time, right? Which is not so good. And in PvE, it actually nerfs it really hard because you would use it on stuff like Kadim to shut down the boot, and now you won't be able to DPS while doing it. That considerably nerfs that strat. So congratulations to SC with the unbreakable Kadim Kadim record now. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you have it. But that's actually it for the balance patch, guys. Oh, well, I want to point out one thing. Dude, ArenaNet with the Hyper IQ. Check this shit out, Matter, okay? They nerfed Cavalier runes. They knew, dude. They knew. They knew. Yeah. Wait, where is it? Wait. It's... Yeah, Cavalier rune. 20% damage modifier changed to 5% in World vs. World. They knew. They knew! Okay, oh yeah, they fixed the death retreats thing. There we go. Yeah, there you go. That's alright.
Did you see the rune changes that then all stat runes now give concentration?
Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about that. Yeah, that's kind of an interesting one actually. I think that might see some... is that going to see some play? Would you use that on any build in PvP, Angels? Some kind of rune like that?
If you use Traveler, like, I know Scourge in the past has used Traveler.
Yeah.
So, like, that's a...
Bit of extra expertise.
Yeah. Boon duration as well. Yeah,
yep.
So, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, and that's I think that's true in PvE as well. I think it's mostly because it was like all stats doesn't, it didn't mean all stats. It means all stat now, right? Okay, and that's fair enough. So will that actually, that might, I don't know. I'm sure there's someone with a spreadsheet right now working it out if it's worth anywhere, right? Like, I'm sure someone's on the job, right? So yeah, they'll be on it. Don't worry, guys. That might see some play in certain setups. Celestial isn't all stats. Celestial is not all stats, right? It's just it's a lot of stats. But there we go. There you have it, guys. That's the entire balance match. And yes, Snowdrop Fox. I'll give a bit of a kind of general overview. So in general, that balance match, I think it's a really good one. Particularly for PvE and World vs. World is where we see the best change. Hang on, what is this? So Scrapper, big yes. Okay, Heal Ellie, mega yes. Like, oh man, it's going to be great. I really like the, again, I hate to keep using the word design, but good design changes to Boon Ellie. I like the Boon extension. The Boon extension mechanic I really like. I would definitely caution ArenaNet with using it too much because I think it's a very powerful mechanic in PvE, potentially in World vs. World as well. Actually, if it got out of hand even more. Okay, and 10 targets is really good, but yeah, I do like the changes there. Nice. I do like the design on gyros now. I think they're going to be much more usable, much more consistent. and more fun to use as well. Good super speed there as
suicide
well.
with bulwark gyro is
Yeah, wait, insta kill yourself. Anyway, Guardian. So for the Guardian, I'm going to kind of group Guardian with Renegade in a way. So the hybrid combo is actually considerably better. I'm going to try it tomorrow, guys. I'm absolutely going to try it tomorrow. It's going to be so damn good. I really think that hybridization with the quickness firebrand, the Alacrity Renegade is going to be great right now. Like that extra damage on both of those classes is going to go a long way in my opinion. Especially when you combine that with, say, a hybrid Condi Might Stack Ellie. Oh, yeah! That could also heal a little bit. And it fights. Yeah! It can extend Boon's mana. Oh, it's so good. One thing I would say about Heal Ellie is that it's actually a bit weak right now, guys, because as we mentioned earlier, Imbued Melodies is maybe bugged right now. It's still using the old ability, the old Sand Squall. So that's actually, it's operating at a considerably lower power level than it could be. Okay, so I'm not sure if that is a bug or intentional. So we'll have to. Maybe we'll talk to developers about that. Not sure if that's intended or not. This Boon Ellie will be better if this is unintentional. If this is a bug, right? Okay, but we don't know that. Not the end of the world if it isn't. But it's I'd be sad. Okay, well, I would be sad. Let's see. Let's see. Oh yeah, Core Guard got nerfed as well, but it had it coming. That's for PvP guys. Like it did have it coming. It was terrorizing ranked, I think, and especially at lower ranking, and that's a good thing to have. It was a stupid build anyway. I'm glad it's gone, and it feels damn good. Okay, it's a shame the hybrid build, like hybrid Firebrand, got nerfed as well. So that did. Oh man, feels bad. The casualty of war, dude. Okay, the casualty of war. And it doesn't feel good, okay? It doesn't feel good. Now, what's Arkan going to play now, man? Like, what's Arkan going to play, Yeah.
FA hands.
Exactly. What's he going to do now? Yeah, other than that, I love the changes to Guardian. I would like to see some buffs in PvE, though, for the support aspect of it. Yeah. And maybe a rework. I think it's very difficult to... It's really difficult to balance Firebrand with tomes as they are. I think maybe a rework might be necessary. I'm not sure. I don't know. Imagine telling the devs. We told them about the stealth bubbles, guys, okay? Yeah. And then for Mesmer, you just basically for Chrono and PvE, guys, you have to play slightly differently. It's the same, right? It's basically the same power level. It's all good. No, not 10-man boons. No, don't give Firebrand 10-man boons. Like imagine World vs. World after that, boys. Please, no. It would be good though. In PvE, if there was a way you could make it, you'd only ever take this X trait in PvE. Yeah, sure, you could do that, right? But it would like break World vs. World, So for Chrono again, it's basically the same. It's slightly different to play. Maybe it does a bit less damage because you've got to cast more skills. Mirage is still going to be around, guys. It got nerfed. It got nerfed fairly hard in PvP. Its damage has been reduced significantly, and its evasion uptime has also been shut down a little bit as well. Absolutely deserved. Very good change there, obviously. However, I think it's still going to be around. It's still going to be fucking annoying as well. And because of the axe nerfs, now they might already be running Scepter, and that's going to be fun. Oh boy, I can't wait for that. But it's good that they nerfed the insane confusion burst and reduce some of the durations. That's a very good thing. The Chrono build in PvP is concerning. They have buffed it with the Signet of Inspiration thing. It's going to have more invuln uptime. Might be really annoying to deal with. Again, we'll have to see how that actually goes down in the future. Like it's already kind of that comparative with Soul Beast. So we'll see if it kind of pushes it over the limit. Power Chrono is the same in PvE as well, guys. So there you go. Necro, cool changes actually. I like... Unending Corruption is still bugged, by the way. It actually, the new trait, Harbinger Shroud, actually still does the same thing. It still makes your Shade corrupt a boon, apparently, which is kind of scary. But yeah, great changes to Power. I think they finally got Power Reaper in a good spot, guys, in PvE. It's only taken like 2 years. Okay, so wow, nice, hooray! I think it's a good attempt to try and change. The punishments, I think they just need full reworks, though, honestly, to be frank here. And yeah, buff Dagger, and yeah, Scourge. I do like. I'm not sure if they intended to buff Harbinger Shroud. Buff Heal Necro with Harbinger Shroud, but they did, and now it's glorious, and I love it. It's enabled a whole new way to play heal necro, and it's, oh my goodness, oh boy, is it beautiful. Okay, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to play around with that. It's very, very good in PvE for heal min. Okay. Very good stuff, actually, and enables that life from death gameplay as well. So I do like it. I like it's a bit of a. I like traits. I like traits like Herald of Sorrow. It fully changes how you even play the class on a fundamental level. I think it's not gonna affect PvP or Wolf as well too much. I think if anything, it's going to enable a very different play style. You're going to kind of want to push into melee, right, and then use Herald of Sorrow to like burst people. Otherwise, it's going to be at range. It's going to be difficult to land because of that 3-second warm up, right? You're probably just going to run out of it, right, or dodge it very easily. So I don't think it will. I mean, I don't know. In melee, I think it can definitely see some play, right? Okay, but at range, I think it will be less effective, so it will kind of tone down the corrupt a bit on Scourge. There you have it. Everything looking pretty good for Necro. Then on Ranger, guys. Yep, general overview. Soul Beast nerfed, as it should be. Maybe could do with a little bit of more of a slap to do with the Ecto, maybe, or something like that. The consistency of the Ecto, stuff like that. Or like
Griffin stance, maybe?
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Great, yeah, Griffin Stance didn't get touched. This is a very popular one. It kind of replaced Moa Stance, right? And it still has this high duration. And gives you the super speed, the evade, and stuff like that, and the endurance back as well. So it's a strong ability. Like that is, you know, the evade spam is kind of the thing that Soul Beast still clings on to, right? It still does have very nice damage reduction though with Dolyak stance and all the protection uptime, the troll engine for the very nice heal, the evasion, the ecto, like all that stuff. It's still a very strong class, guys. But turn the stance duration down by a fair amount. Like the Dolyak stance was 9 seconds, now it's 6 seconds. One Wolf Pack was 12 seconds, now it's only 8 and a bit seconds, right? Yeah, that's a good start, right? I think Soul Beast is one of the least fun classes to play against right now. It's one people complain about a lot, and it's definitely getting better. Good stuff there. Spirits, yes, big yes from me, guys. Love the changes there. Really cool. It's really going to give some skill, some finesse, some activity to Druid, whereas normally you just don't have any skills, right? You have weapons skills and no utilities. You just mash them off cooldown, right? So very good design changes there. And I do like the active level of the boons. I like that the boons will actually require some level of skill to actually upkeep, which is a very good thing, obviously. And finally, Dagger Torch gets the love it deserves. I see you ArenaNet buffing that, getting rid of that Soul Beast Cube. Soul Beast Cube will still be good, right? It just won't be as good as this other option, which I like, as it should be, of course. As it should be. So yeah, really good changes to range, actually, design-wise as well. Rev changes, I would have actually liked to see a bit more here. I think Herald needed to be nerfed a bit more in PvP. And to be honest, I think you could get away with buffing the power builds a teeny tiny bit more in PvE as well. But honestly, once again, good stuff. Like, Conny Renegade probably didn't deserve the nerf, actually, as well, as much as it did get nerfed. Because it wasn't really that overpowered, honestly, in PvE, but hey, it happens, right? Sometimes you just get slapped. Song of the Mist, keep trying, buddy, okay? You'll get there in the end. I think it probably deserves it. It needs to be moved, I think, is the only way it will see play. The others of the Grandmasters are just too strong. They're just really, really strong. Thief, again, not much to say about Thief, really. They buffed Daredevil. I think they want to make bring Dagger Pistol back a little bit, okay, as opposed to the SD setup. And they added a really cool change to Shadow Strike. I love it. I think it's such a fun little change, really flavoursome. I don't think it will see much play, but it's fun and I like it. So yeah, good job there. Yeah. And finally for Warrior, banners, I think this is probably where I deviate from where ArenaNet's balance approach here. I wouldn't have gone about it this way. I probably would have toned down the damage of Condi Warrior as opposed to reducing the banner effects. I think maybe you could reduce them a little bit, but I would definitely tone down the damage, right? Warrior is still going to be an insane class. It's going to do like 30k DPS, right, on this Condi Berserker, probably something like that. The benchmark will probably be around 32k maybe, like 33k with all the drugs. I don't know. It's going to be over 30k. It's going to be really good. So I probably would have reduced Condi Warrior's damage by nerfing some of the traits in, I don't know, no, I would have moved traits around so in order to make banners good, or maybe reduce their cooldown or something, or to, I would make it so you have to take tactics probably or something like that, like kind of put that all in tactics, those banners aren't really that good. So discipline is for DPS, tactics is for banners, right? I think that would make sense. And the winds change, it's fun. I love it from a design perspective. I think it's a much better ability in the way it actually works now, the way it functions. Will it be better? Will it be worse? I think there's pros and cons to how it is now. I think in organized play, it will get shut down very hard, and the warrior probably punished. So I don't know. I think warrior wasn't seeing it crazy. I think it wasn't really that popular in GVG anyway, if I recall correctly.
It was you basically just ran one.
Yeah.
Or two.
Yeah. So you didn't go crazy on them anyway. Like, will this maybe see them? Will it maybe be pushed out now? It's difficult to say. I think you'll probably still want one, because I think the bubble is a very powerful effect, right? But again, it remains to be seen, guys. It does. Overall, to wrap it all up, I think it's a pretty good balance patch. I would have liked to have seen some more changes in PvP, but I'm very happy with how everything is in PvE and World vs. World. I honestly cannot wait to try out some of these new possibilities tomorrow, guys. Like, all these hybrid builds, I'm going to show them all off tomorrow, guys. New heal Necro, new heal Ellie, Boon Ellie, new kind of Boon extension Chrono. We're going to have a great time, guys. Oh, the Firebrand Renegade stuff. Oh, it's going to be great. It's going to be terrific, guys. So much fun. So, good balance match overall, I think. Yeah, could have done with a bit more, okay, a little bit more in some places. Toning down the. My main concern is toning down the power levels in World vs. World and PvP. I think World vs. World got good changes, but it didn't actually target the main problems, and the problem is pretty much Scourge, right? Scourge enables the Rev cancer as well. Without the Scourges, right? Like, Hammer Rev gets worse. So, like, honestly, nerfing Firebrand and Scourge need to just get wrecked, honestly, in World vs. World. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, I do really think that Scourge, in a way, just needs to be removed from World vs. World. Just get rid of it. Come on, just disable it. Like, it's AIDS. And then with that, everything else will follow. Like, Hammer Rev only gets enabled by Scourge, really, or it gets worse because of Scourge, right? And Firebrand kind of enables everything, right? So, like, I think those two cards are still a bit too high on the power level. But honestly, I don't think we're probably not going to see nerfs. We're probably going to see buffs to everything else, right? Because as we see Ellie's power level just go wow. Okay, I see Cran in the chat. He's probably a happy boy right now. Angels is about to get wrecked in GVG's, like, out-cleansed, out-healed hard as fuck, dude. Okay?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that new gyro, you think? Yeah, the damage
I
reduction?
don't know, dude.
Yeah, okay, alright, okay. But yeah, overall, good balance patch. I liked it. Could have done a little bit more in PvP and World vs. World, but it's definitely solid for World vs. World and PvE. And good changes in PvP as well, right, you know?